and welcome to another glorious read. I am your host, Aspen M. Sage. Let's get into it. First off, happy Saturday. I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. I know that I am, and I have finished the Dragon Lord series, the fifth and final book, where we have the werewolf female character, as I was telling you, and of course, our two male dragon characters. So this is The Kiss of Ember. This book definitely hit a lot differently than the last four. The story is still obviously the same, the mates finding mates. Kind of like the previous book where it was more of a quest kind of thing. This one actually has a game in it. So we start off with our main female character, Zara, and we also have Struan and Finn. Obviously, those are our Scottish male dragons. So, Zara is an alpha of her pack who is stricken by moon madness. So, what happens is their beasts become so enraged, so unhinged. Basically, they can't tell the difference one from a foe. They're just rabid animals. And the only way to handle that said moon blindness or sickness is basically to end them, put them down. And of course, this is killing Zara because she's done it to so many people. It started with her mother, and then her father was attacked by two of these packmates who were stricken with that sickness. There is also another alpha wolf from another pack who is trying to help her by saying, hey, if we get married, merge our packs, we can come up with a solution together. She's against it. She's also got an advisor who's a gargoyle. And the gargoyle is trying to lead her in the right direction. He was her father's advisor at first. Well, obviously, this moon sickness, she's got to fight everything. And it ends up being a firstborn race, or a game. So basically, all the firstborn races can come together to win an elixir. And this elixir will grant you anything you desire. Of course, she automatically takes this as going, okay, I'm going to win this race, and I am going to cure my pack and cure them of this moon blindness or moon sickness. Far away on another ski slope somewhere, there is our two dragon male characters, Struan and Finn. So they're very funny characters. Of course, like our last dragon character, Colin, these guys are younger, so they're not that old compared to everybody else. They get a call from the king's consort, Niall, who basically says, hey, I need you guys to join this firstborn race to win this elixir because Isolati is sick and she has the two babies and we're losing her, and if we lose her, we're going to lose King Cormac, and obviously I'm not going to be around, and then everything's going to fall apart. And they understand that, and they're like, okay, we'll do anything to win this elixir for you. Obviously, to save their race, but obviously to save the queen, save the king, save the consort, and just do what they can. Obviously, the games begin, and Zara is determined to win. And of course, that said male from other pack comes around and says, hey, I'm here to help you. I will win the elixir for you too, and we can cure this moon sickness together. And she's like, how dare you follow me? Like, I didn't give you permission. And they kind of banter back and forth. And of course, the gargoyle's there. He's like, why are you here? You're supposed to still be in Maine. It's kind of funny when I hear this because I live in New Hampshire. Maine is just above us. It's a hop, skip, and a jump, not even that far from me. So it's kind of funny that this author mentioned such a state as Maine. Anyway, obviously things happen, and then the dragons show up, and everybody's very concerned because dragons have not competed in centuries in the firstborn games. Obviously they were too busy trying to save their race. So when these two muscular dragons show up, everybody gets concerned, and then as soon as they lay eyes on Zara, they know that she's her mate, and they lay claim to her. They basically are threatening the other male werewolf. They are threatening the gargoyle. And of course, there's this goddess. She's kind of like a fae-like thing. She's like, no weapons, no dismantling people. Yes, we understand you're laying claim. Like, she's very kind of got this teenage snobbiness to her. And she basically says, don't bang people. And the dragons are like, we'll be good. And she's like, I do love myself a good Scottish Highlander. Like, she picks on them a little bit, but she's just like, I'm Karen. So a lot of the other firstborn races are like, we can't have that. We're at a disadvantage if she's got the dragons. And like, of course, Zara's like, no, I don't accept their claim. I'm here just for the elixir for my pack, blah, blah, blah. And, so the dragons are like, don't worry, we won't let anything happen. We'll make sure that we'll help you through it. The only thing is now they're facing an ultimatum because they're sitting there going, we found our mate and she's trying to save her pack and we need this to save our queen, what in turn saves our king and consort that's going to save our race. So like they're at a mishap. They're like, well, we can't abandon her. She's our mate. But they're like, well, we can't not get the elixir. So obviously this causes uproar. The demons have to figure out if they're going to let these three participate, basically. So during the night, of course, or morning, because they're trying to do nights, obviously, to incorporate the vampire species. She's worried. And of course, during this, the dragons show up. They talk to her about it. And she's like, tells them to leave and stuff. And the gargoyle's there. And he's basically trying to chase the dragons off, too. Well, obviously, now there's like 3 or 4 races. I think there's 3. So, like, they have to face challenges. The first one was like underground catacombs that made their worst fears come to life, and just screwed with their heads, but they had to solve these puzzles. Obviously, she comes in 4th, the dragons come in 3rd, 1st and 2nd, and then there's a witch in between them in 3rd, and she's very skeptical of this witch because the illusions in the catacombs weren't supposed to touch them, but yet she had a vision that actually touched her and basically tried to choke her out. So obviously the dragon saved her, and it was just a complete cluster. But after that, she's like, oh, she ended up in 4th place. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not where she wanted to be. Of course, things happen. Obviously, that other werewolf comes and causes a little bit more trouble. She tries to kick him out. She's got to get to the next tent, or the next site for the next game. She goes and visits the dragons, and of course, they feel her connection. And of course, after she leaves, they get a call from the king consort, the one who called them for help in the first place, saying, good job finishing your first race, and also congratulations following your mate. But, they can hear it in his voice, and they're like, don't worry, we're dedicated to getting the elixir, we'll deal with the mate thing after. And he's like, okay, just know we're rooting for you. Like, the queen's getting worse, and the king's not doing too well. I can't hold him down forever. And they're like, no, we got this. So, of course, they end up going to the second game. The second game is like a temple. It's got different elements. They have to face the 4 elements, the wind, the earth, the fire, the water. And each challenge is more difficult than the first. But during this challenge, something happens where the boys had to stop it and save Zara. And it just turned into a big cluster. They end up in an endless loop. So by endless loop, I mean they literally keep walking in circles, passing the same thing over and over and over and over. No matter how far they walk, what direction they walk, they end up in the same place. So they're stuck in almost like a time warp or a loop of deception. Of course, during this loop of deception, both Zara, who is a werewolf, is pulled by the moon. The moon is getting full. But so is Struan. Struan is also part werewolf. He's a werewolf halfling, so he's also pulled by the moon. And our character Finn, who is actually a vampire mix. So he's not pulled by the moon. And he knows that Struan's getting agitated. He knows Zara's getting agitated. So he's like, go hunt, go run, go do what you gotta do. See if you can find a place out of here. I will get a camp and, fire ready and all that stuff. And they're like, sure. Well, Struan and Zara run off. They're having a great time hunting, quotation, because they're not actually hunting. They're just running in circles. And then they realize that they're not going anywhere. And it's irritating. Obviously, it's irritating. And then it turns spicy quick between Zara and Struan. And Struan's like, he's got to have her. And she's like, no, we can't without Finn. And he's like, well, you know what they say about dragons, right? Don't run from them because they like to chase. And they always catch their prey. And she's like, no, I didn't know that. And he basically comes up with this game of he wants her to run to chase her. He's like, you better hope that you get to Finn before I catch you. So she runs as fast as she can. And she runs into the tent. Of course, she's hyped up, gentle, and, the eyes are wide and everything. And she's excited. And she runs right into Friend's arms. And Finn's like, what's going on, And then all Struan comes in, all hot and bothered, and Finn's like, we can't be having that. He's twisting his tongue, and he's like, how dare you scare our mate? And she's probably tired and hungry, and the last thing she wants is, a horny dragon chasing her down. And he's like, it's funny how this duo works, because Struan is dominant, but he's a submissive dominant. He likes when Finn tells him what to do. And that is what drives him. That's what their relationship thrives on. And Zara realizes this too, and so she gets in on it. Of course, during this point, where they're stuck in this internal loop, they do the wham bam, thank you ma'am. They are very into each other. Zara has claimed to, her fate of being with that said dragons. But she basically tells them that she wants to be with both of them, but she doesn't want the forever claiming it. And they understand that. They're like, no, it's just for now. So there is a little bit, I'm not going to tell you in the scene, that basically is involve a torture device. Well, it might be torturing to at least one of the male dragons. But it's a safety, as Finn puts it. Or detaining, I guess is the correct word. So during this, obviously they have a wham bam thank you ma'am, and then they take care of Zara, and Zara's like, I could get really used to this, being tended to. During the morning, they hear a voice asking if anybody's home, and they realize it's the male witch, the one that Zara had suspicions of casting curses or keeping her from winning challenges. And it comes clean that he did. He was paid to. And he was paid by that said rogue werewolf that Zara has been having a problem with. And he's like, but he's like, I'm going to stop this curse that you're in, this endless loop. Because he goes, I refuse to keep mates apart. The reason why he joined this race was to actually bring back his deceased mate with the elixir. So basically, he had a change of heart. He didn't know that the dragons were going to come and claim her. And of course, he wants to bring back his mate, so he's not going to keep mates apart. So she knew that this male alpha was a problem, and she would handle him after the race. Well, she goes, well, when's the third race starting? And he's like, now. And they're like, but we didn't finish the last race. And so they had to finish the last race with a little bit of smoking out and misting and whatnot. A little magic sprinkled to basically save. And of course, they get there just as time to start the next race. And the gargoyle came up to Zara. He's like, oh, I got to tell you something. It's very, very important. It's about so-and-so. And he goes, I can't wait. And she goes, it's going to have to. I got to do this challenge. And of course, she's last on the list. Now she doesn't know what she's going to do. Well, the race was up a volcano. I don't know how this was going to work. I love how the author played with it, but it was a race up a volcano, and you can't fall into the cavernous. Obviously, you would disintegrate. So she's like, I got to win this race first, and then we'll talk about the whole issue later. So as she's racing up the hill, being last, she's passing fae, she's passing witches, other werewolves, vampires. She sees Struan and Finn up ahead. She's running as fast as she can. And then all of a sudden she's tackled by that said male werewolf. He's calling her different unlikely names because she slept with the dragons, and he wanted her, he loved her, and all this, obsessed bull crap that he was going to basically save her life and her pack and all this, the whole narcissistic kind of like, I'm going to make you feel like shit because you made me feel like shit, kind of deal, or the whole badgering, whatever you want to call it. It's not kind. So he's basically trying to strangle her, and Fen comes back and saves her by stabbing like something through him, through the male werewolf's heart, kind of thing. But it obviously can't kill him because he's immortal. So she gets pulled to her feet by Fen. He says, "Run as fast as you can," and she does. And she's right on Struan's ass. And they're running as fast as they can, and she reaches the top of the mountain first. Obviously, she is the winner of the race. So now the fountain's there. The goddess is there. The other demons who are holding this game is there. And, of course, Struan are like, well, they're like, we failed, but, at least our mate's going to be happy. And as Zara goes to the fountain to collect her prize of this elixir, it rejects her. And they don't know why. And this other demon comes out and says that Zara Rockford, ended up cheating. She used an ability what wasn't hers. So during the second race, Zara got really badly injured. Where obviously in the previous book, the dragons have magical tears that heal. They turn into crystals or diamonds. And Zara had to obviously take on her arm was basically dislocated. It was shredded, stuff like that. And she had a nasty cut in her head. So, regardless, the boys had to save her. Of course, when they do the truthful encounter kind of thing, it was they're not allowed to use magics that they don't always already possess. Well, obviously, that's cheating. So, Zara didn't win, but Struan did. And, of course, Struan's like, well, we have to save our queen. So, he starts to drink the elixir after he wins. He's kind of still also heartbroken because he took his woman's dream of saving her pack. So obviously he saves the queen. And then Fen and him are like, oh, we need to go console our mate. So he walks over and he's like, Zara, hon, love, are you all right? And she's like very upset because she's staring at the demon, where the demon was, and she's like, I didn't mean to cheat. She goes, I didn't know. Like, she's very heartbroken about it because now her pack's gonna get struck with this moon sickness. So there's a lot of things that happen in this moment. A lot of, obviously, in the past books, a lot of truth comes out, a lot of betrayal comes out, and a lot of things twist. To save you, I'm not going to tell you details because I want you to read the book. I want you to support the author as I do in previous. I will say that obviously our three characters stay mated. I will obviously say that the queen is saved. And I will tell you that Zara's pack is also saved. So it's very interesting how this is. But there was one part in this book that I absolutely loved. And because it's also the era somewhat I grew up with in a lot of shows I used to watch. Obviously, in the previous book, there was a mention of the food movies, and I'm like, yes, I'm so happy this author mentioned it. Well, another one that this time she mentioned was an old cartoon that I grew up on, and it's Captain Planet, and I loved it so much. I had to highlight it in the book because I was like, yes, that makes me so happy that somebody referenced that. So obviously that made me happy. Like I said, this book is awesome. Zara was definitely one of my favorite characters, but I don't know. Struan's right there too. Struan's like, very lovey-dovey, but he's at the same time like an ass. Or as Mr. Fen likes to call him, he calls them beasties. Because obviously he's a vampire and he's stuck with two werewolves as mates, or a werewolf dragon mix and a werewolf. So he calls them his beasties. So I also love that. All in all, I give this book a 5. The spice level started low, and definitely towards the end it got more spicy. It's definitely down to that 4.7 more than it is the 5 or the 4.5. It's definitely in the middle. It's more beautifully done. I will say that. You still got the trio. You still have that kind of encounter. You still got our male character together. You have a male-female character together. So I love these books. I definitely recommend the whole series. I'm kind of sad they ended, but she has other books that are available, different type of series. I'll have to wait and add her to my favorite author list, right there with Lexi Frost and Jennifer and all of them. Oh, and Selena. Just some of these authors come up with the craziest things, and I love how they write these stories. I will admit, Amy Pennza did a wonderful job. I love how she writes the stories. She writes them almost like, I wouldn't say a video, but she writes them like they're actual like life events kind of thing happen. Like, she makes it so real. And the fact that she's using old time and bringing it into new age. I will admit, I do the same thing with my own book. So a lot of my characters are from different times of history. I have a gladiator. I have the Vikings. I have Anglo-Saxon. I have, pirates and when Notre Dame was built. So I get that. So I bring a lot of history into. I even have the Celts in there, the old Scottish fighters. I have everybody that I could think of different ages and, different history events that I could think of. So I get it. I get the whole bringing it into the old, into the new world without the history repeating. With that being said, this is the end of the series. I definitely recommend. It's a 5-star series in my book. I love this whole series. I don't know what I'm going to read next. I might go back towards the dark romance. Like I said, I'm also waiting for a lot of books to come back out throughout this year. But I have to be patient. That's a part of reading. You have to be patient, and you can't push authors because authors don't like to be pushed. But like I'm doing right now, a lot of people are going, hey, when are you getting your second series out? And I'm like, you have to wait. I'm sorry. Believe me, I want them out too. I want them in readers' hands. I want people to enjoy my story. But like now, I am working on my book number 2. I want to do the second edition and make sure it is where I want it. I want it to flow so beautifully that people feel like they're actually watching this thoroughly through their head. I'm trying to add more like characteristic to my characters. I'm trying to enter more dialogue that makes them seem more human or have their flaws a little bit, or, make them actually sound like they're actual people. But obviously characters, because that's the point of reading, is we want to live in other people's lives. So with that being said, I hope everybody has a fantastic Saturday. Thank you for joining in, and I hope to catch you on the next one. Go have an adventure, go have a coffee, maybe take a nice hot bath, maybe enjoy a nice little warm cup of something, and maybe enjoy that snack you've been avoiding. You never know. Even if it's just as simple as like a nice little charcuterie board for yourself and watching a good movie. Or because we're reading, read a book. Thank you for listening in, and I'll catch you next time on That's Another Glorious Read. Thank you, and bye-bye.